Hi everybody, I'm your PIPS President, Debbie Davio, and it's my great pleasure to be with you today to give you an update on the state of affairs at PIPS while we're going through this pandemic. Ça m'a fait très plaisir d'être parmi vous aujourd'hui, virtuellement. I want to start by shouting out to some of our incredible members and the work that they are doing on behalf of Canadians. I know that many of our members are just quietly and competently working from home. But a lot of our members have had to actually continue to go into the office and are working on the front lines, and I really want to take a moment to recognize those members. Whether it be healthcare workers, nurses working in the north and in remote communities, or veterinarians working in meat plants to secure the safety of our food chain, CSs going into the office to make sure that everybody else could work safely from home, and even members who are volunteering to do other people's jobs, critical work for Canadians. You are so impressive, and I'm so very proud of the work that you do. And despite these difficult circumstances, and despite the fact that many of you are still not being paid correctly, you continue to just keep on competently serving Canadians. And I know that Canadians appreciate this so very much. In fact, recent surveys have shown that their trust for the public service is increasing during this period, and that's because of the incredible work that you're doing. PIPS is working really hard to maintain our service during this period, and our PIPS site remains fully operational, although our employees have all been sent to work from home. We're really impressed with our staff's ability to make this transition and for us to be able to operate quite smoothly in this new scenario. And of course, we'll be looking forward to returning to the office when it's safe to do so. But in the meantime, you can be assured that our staff are on standby and ready to receive your calls and to support you through any issues you might have during this terrible period. As the situation changes, as we know it does pretty much daily, we're making sure that all of the information on our website is up to date and our FAQs are updated. So don't hesitate to go there and take a look on a regular basis. You'll likely find new information and you're likely to find answers to the questions that you have. This being said, if you go there and you don't find answers to your questions, we are here for you. Our employment relations officers are on standby and waiting for your calls. If you have any burning questions about return to work or about critical work definition or about whether or not you're entitled to use code 699, our EROs are there for you. Don't hesitate to reach out to us to seek out help. And while many of you are experiencing individual issues, we've also noted that there are a lot of system-wide issues, department-wide issues, agency-wide issues that need attention at a slightly higher level. And so we've been working really hard in the trenches to address a number of these issues. We've ensured that the definition for critical work was properly defined and that it's been applied in a standardized way. And when departments are not interpreting it correctly, we're telling on them. We're making sure that they are forced to implement the standard provisions that are being put in place through our negotiations with the Treasury Board. We advocated for home-based work wherever possible. We understand that a lot of our members deal with protected documents and secure information, and that in not all cases is it possible. But nonetheless, we worked hard to make sure that the employer put in place all possible technology to make sure that everyone who could work from home was working from home. We were even able to send some very frontline operational jobs home to do their work in safety and away from the risks of COVID-19. We've pushed for adequate personal protective equipment for our members, especially those working on the front line in risky environments. I think, for example, of nurses and healthcare workers at Correctional Services Canada, who are expected to intake new prisoners, take their temperature, and do other medical procedures without personal protective equipment. We were able to work with the employer to force the provisions of adequate personal protective equipment and a safe working environment for those members. Of course, one of the most important provisions that we negotiated was access to a leave with pay code 699 for those people who simply weren't able to work. Whether you were a non-critical worker with no access to the system or you needed to take care of your children or other family members, this code was there for you. We engaged in consultation at all levels. From the local to the national levels of your department, to the National Joint Council, where we sit with other unions and the employer, we were in the trenches every day fighting for the provisions that public servants now enjoy and making sure that you would be kept safe during this period and safe when you return to work. And on that note, we've been in the trenches negotiating provisions for your return to work. And as daycares and schools and provinces start to open and we start to return to the new normal, it'll definitely be our priority to make sure that your return to work is also safe. We advocated for flexibilities to the public service healthcare plan to make sure that proper support for mental health issues, as well as other concerns around access to medication, were properly dealt with during this period, and that our members would experience the least risk possible in accessing those services. L'Institut s'est entendu avec le Conseil du Trésor pour suspendre tous les délais prévus au traitement des griefs du 20 mars au 31 mai 2020. Cette suspension permettra aux membres de déposer tous les griefs nécessaires. Le délai prévu de 25 jours pour déposer les griefs est aussi suspendu. Comme ça, vous avez toute l'opportunité de déposer les griefs et si on a certains cas qui sont urgents, nous pouvons les poursuivre dans les délais habituels. Nous savons que nos membres prennent toutes les précautions possibles et qu'ils utilisent des équipements de protection individuelle. Mais certains de nos membres expérimentent plus de risques que des autres. Nous nous attendons à ce qu'ils reçoivent un salaire bonifié pour compenser pour les risques et les sacrifices de leur travail. À notre demande, le Conseil du Trésor a demandé à la RRC pour une interprétation officielle sur les formulaires d'impôt. Si les fonctionnaires travaillent chez ils, on espère qu'il y a la possibilité de réclamer les déductions fiscales l'année prochaine pour les frais de bureau qui ont encouru pendant la pandémie. Nous savons bien que les rassemblements de nos membres sont le cœur de notre militantisme syndical. Mais à ce temps, la priorité doit être la santé et sécurité de nos membres. L'Institut reporte ses activités qui doivent dérouler en personne jusqu'au 30 juin 2020. Le Conseil d'administration réévaluera cette décision au plus tard le 12 juin 2020. And because we're not able to meet face-to-face right now, we have postponed all of our group AGMs and our regional councils, and the terms of office have been extended to accommodate. So anyone who's currently sitting in a PIPS elected position will remain there until we're able to get together and hold these elections once again. By the time you see this video, the PIPS board will have consulted and assessed and met to determine how we are going to go forward. And we'll be sure that we communicate in great detail to our members about how that's going to work. While I had to leave home to get this video done for you, let me just remind you that as much as possible, please try to stay at home. Make sure you wash your hands, don't touch your face, sneeze into your arm, and follow all of the advice of public health authorities. I know that your work is essential to the well-being of Canadians, and you need to look after yourself first to make sure that you're going to be there to continue to deliver those critical services. Don't forget to look after you. And I know that as we work through this together, everything is going to be okay. Ça va bien aller. Merci tout le monde. Thank you, everybody.